Hello class, I'm Professor Hatter. Welcome today to this video. We're not going to be doing any new hat reveals. Today we're just going to be talking about hats as a topic and how to take care of them or how to, do different things with them. So no new hats. We're going to do some pretty simple hat talks here. We're going to talk about taking a hat, which I have here, my 2018 Chicago Cubs Father's Day hat edition. It's a New Era 5950. It's a regular high crown profile hat. And I'm going to use this New Era from HatClub, though. New Era cap band bender, visor bender. So basically, you take it on the front here, and then you bend it up, and you get a curved bill. No, no. We're not doing that. Class, it's Professor Hatter here. I'm sorry I have to do this. I gotta remake the video. I made the first video in my office. It was okay. It was a lot and didn't turn out too well. And the other part is the hat that I originally used for the demonstration for the cap brim bender accessory. The results weren't what I was, expecting. I mean, it got bent, but it wasn't the right way I should have done it. So, I redid the whole video for you students. Because all of you come to class, come to all my videos, watch them all the way through. Everyone here, leaves a like on my videos every time. You all leave a comment down below which hats you like that I'm talking about. Or you leave a comment about, a hat story of your own. And it's just great to hear from all of you. And you're all paying top tuition dollar for this hatology class. So I figured, you guys deserve the best out of me. If I had to redo the... What is it, Billy? Wait, you're saying that they don't pay tuition? Aw, man. Son of a... Well, it's okay. Don't worry. I'm still going to do this for you students because you're all the best. You guys come to class and, I appreciate all the support I get from all of you. So I had to redo the video and make it a good video for all of you. It's going to be a long one, but it's going to be worth it. So I hope you enjoy. And let's do this review. Take 2. Let's go. Hello class, I am Professor Hatter. We're going to do this video all over again because my original video it only went over one hat through my experiment with my new hat accessory hat toy here. This is the New Era cap brim bender. This is supposed to take a flat brim hat, like any one of these 3 hats here that I have, and bend it. Now, if you're someone who likes a flat brim hat, just like this, right off the shelf like this, high crown, that's totally fine. You might not like the rest of the video, but leave a comment down below. If you do, leave your hats in a high profile. Great to know that stuff. Just for my, the class survey purposes. See, how much hat diversity we have in the class. But for me, I like to bend my brims sometimes, not all the time, but for some of my hats. Right now I'm wearing my college hat, which is from the movie Animal House, blued on the side. It's just an example of a bent or curved brim hat. This is the brim or the bill or the visor of a cap. Either way you say it, that's this part of the hat, the anatomy of a hat. So I will be referring to it in either 3 terms, so just so you know what I'm talking about. But like this perfect dad hat here from Elmhurst College, I'm wearing it because when I originally recorded the video, I wanted to continue the continuity. That when I recorded the original video, that was the day my sister became an officially registered nurse. So I wanted to make sure I was wearing her college hat. So hats off to her and hats off to all the nurses out there. So this kind of dad hat, I really like the curved brim. That's what I grew up with originally before I became a serious hat collector. And I just like this style. Not always, but for some hats I do. So that's why I got this New Era toy here. I got it from HatClub. Originally, I got it in mid-July, and when I got it, I did the test on the one Cubs fitted hat. It was a Father's Day special edition hat for a holiday series, and I did it once, and I figured this isn't really the best example, so I did multiple examples of bending the brim of a hat. So that's what I'm going to go over today in class, how to use this device for your bending purposes, and show you a few examples of how I took a few hats and how they turned out. And my critique and my positivity to this accessory, just my general review. So today in class, I recommend if you like bending your brim, stick around in class. Otherwise, if you want to still watch, that's fantastic. If not, thanks for coming. Hope you can join me for a future video some other day. Just make sure you have your notifications set. Alright, get out a notebook, pen, and pencil, whatever you need for note-taking today. Because class is in session. Let's go. So you always see in store mainly these 5950 high crown profile hats. And these are the standard 5950 hats, but I wanted to show you what a low profile hat looks like. And I have a few here among many others. I have a Cubs hat. This is on the field. This is a very nice one. You can see it has a natural curve in the brim. And there are hats that come in low profile style already off the shelf. They have a certain machine where they use steam and a compression pressure machine to bend the brim and slant back the profile. This Utah Jazz draft hat is a really good low profile, really nice curve, and I want to show you the comparison of a high and low profile hat. So I got these two hats here. Let's freeze frame right there. On the top, you can see the Blackhawks hat has a 90-degree angle where the crown, the front two panels, and the brim meet. And that is a high crown. On the bottom side, you see the Utah Jazz hat have a bit of a slant where the brim and the front two panels, the crown meet. So more of a slant than the lower profile is graded. So this would be a low profile hat with a mid crown because it has a lower angle compared to the 90-degree straight angle of the Blackhawks 5950 hat. So I just wanted to point that terminology out, show you the difference between a high and mid profile, low profile hat, what that is. This is a mid profile, but just the way that it is compared to the crown of the 5950 hat, it's a mid crown. See, this hat is a low crown where it's just really angled at the brim and cap. That's a common thing with dad hats. Anyways, let's move all this stuff out of the way and let's show you how to use the bender. So let's take the Blackhawks hat here. Go Hawks, by the way. So when you get this in the mail and you open it up, I want you to make sure that you come back to this video, and if you have a friend that gets this accessory, make sure that you refer back to this video because the instructions are in Korean. A little frustrating, a little confusing that they would send out a package with Korean instructions when it's not a native tongue for most people in America. So just it would have been nice if it was in English, because the things I wanted to know was, one, how many snaps do I use to bend the brim, and two, how long do I have the bender on for? And the main instructions you need to know, they have pictures, but the main instructions you need to know are, one, you bend it to your desired curvature, and then two, you leave it for 4 hours at least. And I will show you a few hats that I bent myself that I left either for 4 hours or longer than. And you can see the comparisons. So let's apply the bender to the Blackhawks hat here, just for demonstration. So you'll put the logo face on the front here with the curve, the top curve here, against the cap where the brim meets. And then show you on the back. You will bend it to however you want it to. Now, there might be a difference between the brim sizes of a smaller hat compared to a medium and bigger size hat. I have a 7.5 hat, which is about the middle of the road. So make sure you bend it to the way you want it to. But for me, my first hat I bent was 3 snaps. But after that, I used anywhere from 4 to 6 snaps on the band here. So I have snapped it all into place here. And as you can see, it looks really scrunched up, like it looks unnatural, which is okay. It needs to be in this hyperbolic state of bent, of curvature, so that when I finally release the snap, it'll kind of air out a bit and go into a more natural state of its form. So this is what you'll do and leave it for 4 hours, just like that. So I'm going to show you the examples of the hats that I have that I bent. All of these hats are New Era hats. I didn't take any other non-New Era fitted hats to bend. I don't have too many of my non-New Era hats that I would want to bend or that are suitable to bend, I would say. So, and of course, most of you guys have New Era hats anyway, so it's more applicable to the New Era owners who are interested in curving their brims. Alright, let's get into those hats. So the first cap I bent was this Chicago Cubs Father's Day 50 on 50 hat. And I wanted to do this because it was just a hat that I, wanted to test out with. So I bent it, and I wasn't happy the first time I bent it. Now, I had re-bent it, actually, but I was unhappy the first time because the inside of the hat is not a standard 5950 hat material. On the inside, it's kind of like a weird, like, nylon material, and I was unhappy the first time I bent the brim because this wasn't a, familiar material that most hat collectors would have for a 5950 hat. So, I believe the next hat which one did I bend next? Oh, yes. It was the Chicago Fire, it's a soccer team in Chicago. This hat I bent next because this is a hat that is made of the same material as a on-field 5950 hat would be for any baseball team. So, as you can see here, this turned out pretty well. And let me put it on. It was a nice bend. And when I tell you that you need to do this kind of on a consistent basis, when you bend a brim, it's not going to stay like this forever. Just like with a hat that you stretch out on the sides, it's not going to stay like that forever. You need to keep at it. So I think about every 2 weeks or maybe monthly, I will rebend these caps, just so I can keep the form and it won't revert back to the flat brim. I'm not saying flat brims are bad, it's just that I bent it because I wanted these to be bent. You can't just bend it the one time with the bender accessory. You can't bend a brim with steam just one time like you might have seen Dre616, another good YouTube channel for hats. You need to do it over a consistent amount of time so that it can sustain that form. So I wanted to make sure that you noted of that so that you're aware of that note. I also bent this Hampshire Fisher Cats 2016 Republican hat. Backstory, in 2016 presidential election, minor league team from New Hampshire, they did a contest, which hat would they wear, a Republican or Democratic hat. I forget which hat won, but I got the Republican version because that's the one I could find my hat size. Now, when you do bend the brim, the hat size will largen a bit. So it will feel a little bit looser when you put it back on. So I recommend bending a brim of a hat that already feels snug, where it's like, this is kind of snug. So if you bend the brim, it'll loosen the size up just by a few centimeters. Not by much, but just noticeable enough. So if it's a hat that's already loose fitting, do not bend the brim, because then the hat will feel really loose on you and it'll look kind of awkward. So this hat already had a tight fit to it, so I bent the brim to loosen up just a bit. I also did it with my Denver Broncos hat, so that's a nicer feel. It was a snug fit, but this one was a nice fit. Maybe also has to do with the sweatband, but that's just my personal take. I also rebent a low-profile hat. This was a Chicago Bears.
It's known as the Bears. The Bears.
This was already a low-profile hat when I bought it, but I reused the accessory to bend the brim just to keep that form from its original status. So I wanted to rebend that for an example, and it turned out pretty good. I like it. Go Bears. And the last hat that I bent was a Chicago Sky 950 snapback hat, just to test out how it would work on a snapback. And I think it worked out pretty well. Now, there's a difference because, the snaps in the back is how you adjust the fitting. So it would be completely different from, say, a fitted hat, like I had been using. So bending this snapback hat was a little interesting of an experiment. But I like the way it turned out, and I'm sure the way that it looks is really nice. Now, another way you can bend a brim, other than using the accessory or using steam, which is another popular method to manipulate the materials on a hat and the form of the hat, is you take a hat, 5950 or a fitted hat, you find the center of the brim, and you follow the tape on the inside, the center part, kind of where the back logo for the league would be, and you pull it. You pull it tightly, like this, you get a good strengthening workout from it. And you just keep pulling at it over and over. And then you can be able to bend the brim by hand. And this way it has a nice start to the bend, other than going by hand and, triangling it, like I heard some of the Lids associates say when they'd bent a brim for me in store. Alright class, I know that was a lot. I'm sure the video was longer than I expected it to be, but there was a lot of material I needed to cover to talk about the cap brim bender from New Era that I bought off of HatClub. This sells for $12 on HatClub.com, and for me with shipping it was about $16. It's fairly priced. The only disadvantage the two disadvantages I think with this bender is, one, the instructions are in Korean, so that doesn't help at first. And my other little critique is, when you do bend the brim, the sides of the panels kind of still jut out, and they kind of look a little awkward. So that's where you would probably need to use steam to kind of depress and smoothen out the awkward bulges from the bend. I didn't do that. I didn't have the time, and I'm not so good with using steam to manipulate my own hats. But that's just my 2 cents about the cap brim bender. But it's actually 4 cents because of inflation. So I give this accessory a 4 out of 5. Actually, more like a 4.5 out of 5. So I highly recommend that you go get this if you like bending your brims, and you're looking around and you can't find any great accessory to bend the brim. Look for this one at HatClub. I'll leave the description down below. As always, thank you for watching today's video, being in today's lecture class. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, and you're new to the class, subscribe down below. And follow me for future videos that come out. I'm Professor Hatter, and as always, hats off to you for watching. Class is dismissed. Bye, everyone.